Today I'm going to show you how to make a fortune teller. And so you're going to first start by folding the paper like this and matching the edges up and basically making a triangle. And then you're going to cut off that excess little rectangle of paper so that you are left with just a triangle. And when you open the triangle, it would be a perfect square. So now you're going to line up the edges and the corners and fold it in half to make a smaller triangle, and then fold it in half again, lining everything up to make an even smaller triangle. I'm trying really hard to line it up perfectly, and then you're going to open it all up, and then you're going to take the outside edge and you're going to put that little corner into the center. When you are folding them, make sure that they are lined up perfectly. They're not overlapping other ones, but there's also not huge gaps. You don't want a huge gap. It will not work properly if you have those large gaps. So here's what it's looking like. And then I flipped it over, and then now I'm taking those corners from the other side and folding them into the center. Make sure you actually flip your paper over to do this. Otherwise, you will just be folding it on top of the other folds and it will not work right. So all of them lined up and got all of the corners into the center. Now I have a tiny little square. So then I flipped it back over, and then now I'm folding it. And then here you can see this is the outside part. And then the inside part is where the flaps are. So that's what it looks like, okay? So you're gonna have your word on the outside where your thumb and finger go in. And then the definition is gonna go directly behind that, and when you flip it over, you're going to have your examples behind those. So it's all lining up, so it should be the word and then the definition and then example. Okay, so does that make sense? Hopefully it does. And I'm going to give you a little bit more of the examples of what it's going to look like, and hopefully this clears some things up, because my first video people were a little bit confused. So you're going to have the word. I wrote word. You're going to have the word, and then you're going to have the definition behind the word, okay? And then behind the definition is going to be the example number 1 and example number 2, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that clears things up a bit. And that will be filled out with your vocabulary words that you are learning, and will hopefully be able to make more sense for y'all. So first word that I'm doing is pattern, and then I am trying to write it to fit it exactly how I need it, and I messed up and I erased it. So I always do everything in pencil first. So then I did the word, and then the vocabulary definition will be on the other side, and then here are the examples, doing example number 1, and then example number 2 will be under that, but I am actually taking the time to color it and make sure that it is exactly how I want it. If y'all want to copy this exactly, you totally can. If you want to come up with your own example, that is also fine. Just make sure that it is an example that you understand and an example that actually fits with the word. So with this pattern is the repetition of elements. So I'm doing different lines, different colors, and just trying to make sure that the shapes that I'm creating create a pattern. So then the next word I'm going to do is variety. And then under variety, I'm going to write the definition of variety, and then I'm going to add the examples. If you want, you can fast forward to the very end of this video, and I have the finished principles fortune teller and the finished elements fortune teller, and you can see it in pretty good lighting, and you can pause it and you can copy it and get the definitions of everything. But right now I'm just giving different examples of variety and what that is going to look like with a variety of different shapes, variety of different colors, but also making sure that it all goes together. And so one is literally just shapes, and then the other one I'm doing a little sunset in the ocean, and so that you can see that there's a variety of different colors and shapes and lines and texture and all of that to give the variety aspect of the artwork. So then now emphasis, and emphasis is one that does not have to be in every single artwork that you do, but if there was any kind of thing that you wanted to emphasize in the artwork, you need to make sure that it's really obvious and make sure that it's different because it's bigger, or it's different because it's smaller, or it's different because it's brighter, or it's different because it's darker. There just needs to be some kind of aspect of it that gives it that emphasis. So I'm drawing a pink dolphin jumping out of the ocean with clouds in the sky, blue skies. So the only thing that is not blue and white is the dolphin. So that is what I'm emphasizing, is the pink dolphin. And then here I am emphasizing that black line. It is darker than all of the other lines. So then now I'm doing unity and doing the definition for unity right under it. And then the examples that I'm going to give for unity are going to be different patterns basically, but it's unified by similar shapes. It's unified by similar colors. So I did a fish scale pattern that I am coloring in with multiple different colors. You can see them right there, that I'm doing the yellow orange, I did orange, and then I'm also going to be doing some of like the pinks and the red violet. And I think that that looks really good. It definitely is pattern, but it also is unity because it's unified by having similar shapes and colors. And then this one is unified by just having similar shapes. So balance is one of the most important principles to use if you are trying to make a successful artwork. There are 3 different kinds of balance. There's symmetrical balance, like what I'm doing here, where it's exactly the same on both sides. And I'm giving a very basic example by just using shapes and colors and making sure that you can see that it's symmetrical on both sides. And then there is asymmetrical, which one side has a little bit more going on than the other side, but the other side maybe has some smaller items to kind of balance it out a little bit, or a little bit darker texture or color. And then there's radial balance, which is round, perfect balance in a circle. So like mandalas. So then this one is movement. It says rhythm and movement, but I just put movement because there's not a lot of space to write all of the words right there. And so my examples for movement is I'm drawing a river. So very easily you can see, and you can imply that that river is moving based on the lines and our knowledge of rivers. And so then our other one that I'm drawing for that example is I'm drawing different shapes, and I'm making it kind of look like they're moving across the paper, or like the wind blew them or something. It's however you want to do it. You can come up with your own examples if you want. So this one, proportion, is also very important to have a successful artwork, because if something is not in proportion or it's not proportionate, it's not going to look right. So if you want something to look exactly how it looks in real life, you need to make sure that all of the parts of the object and all of the other objects in the artwork are all the right size compared to one another. So in this one, you can see that the candle is huge compared to the cake. So they are not proportionate. And then this other example, I'm drawing a cat's head, and the cat's body is so tiny compared to the cat. If you wanted something to be in exact proportions, you need to make sure every single aspect of it is proportionate to all of the other parts. So that is what it's going to look like. I just am adding some more colors and making it a little less bland, and adding some little background colors and trying to make it spruced up a little bit. But as you can see, the beginning of it, I didn't add color on the front. I do want you to add color. Here's the So you can pause it to read, to get the definitions, to get the examples, and this front is how I expect them to look. If you do not do something like this, where each of the words kind of has the definition in it by the way you drew the word, then you're not going to get as many points as if you did do this. So here are all of my examples. Again, you may pause it to read. So the elements are the parts of an artwork, and the principles are how you arrange the elements. So here's the principles one. It's pretty boring and bland. I encourage you to add more detail to the front, add more detail and colors to the inside as well. Pause to read if you would like to copy these definitions exactly, and you can see that where they line up. So there's pattern and movement, proportion, all of those. And then here's what the inside looks like. I'm going to make it so that you can see the definition and then kind of line them up with which ones they are. Even though we went over this already in the beginning of the video, but if you fast forwarded and you got to here just to get the definitions, then here you go. And I hope that this was helpful for you, and I hope that this video was more successful than my last video. I really appreciate y'all's comments and concerns about me missing the part of how to fold the fortune teller. I thought I recorded it, but I guess when I hit record, it ended up stopping it. And then when I hit stop, it ended up recording. So I have like a recording of nothing, and then no recording of me folding, and then a recording of nothing. So I'm very sorry about that. But I appreciate y'all being patient with me, and I love learning about all of this and trying to share my love of learning with y'all. So if you have any comments, questions, concerns, comment them below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great rest of your day, guys.